Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so happy that you are joining me, Robin Fafmi. We are here to talk all about solar energy, solar panels, solar batteries, everything solar. Um, what we say here is switch to solar. It works if you work it. My job is to teach you or help you understand how solar works so that when you make that big decision to add solar to your homes, you actually understand all of the nuances that are necessary to make it work for you. It is hot, hot, hot. The Texas heat is on, and it's no joke. It is hot. And many families are at the point now where you're starting to receive electricity bills and they are high, high, high. 200, 300, even 600. I had one person contacted me and they had a $900 electric bill. Now, when somebody says that they have a $900 electric bill, it really sends off some bells and whistles in my head because I'm really wondering why so high. I do understand that we are in the season where it is hot and everything is working harder. We're using a lot more electricity and things of that nature. So the bills are quite naturally going to be high, but a $900 electric bill on a consistent basis, that's something to be concerned about. So when I hear those kinds of numbers, I'm wondering what else is really going on in that home. How many people are in the home? How many adults are in the home? Do you have a pool? Um, what else could be causing that usage to be so high? When you have a bill like that and you're using like, 28, 30,000 kilowatts per month, that's like a commercial building. And we're talking simply about your home. So we're going to address some of the issues related to energy that may be escaping your home and how to prevent the escape. Um, Before we go any further, let me just say again, I am Robin Fafmi. My business is Better Me, Better You Solar Energy Consulting and Sales. I will consult with you about solar energy if you're thinking about it. And then if you are ready to make that choice, I'm also qualified to sell it to you. I am a solar dealer. It's my own company, and I partner with installers and roofers. So any and everything that you need in order to go solar, I can provide it for you. So don't hesitate to ask me a little bit more about that. Um, my main purpose for being here, though, is to empower homeowners and to educate homeowners through, how do you say, just sharing information. As you are here with me now, I am considering that I am sitting across from you at your kitchen table. So we're one on one right now. And that's the way that I want it to be. So we've got all of this education based marketing that I do to help people understand that I am here for you to help you understand solar energy, how it works, is it right for my home, and what are the steps that I need to take in order to get started and complete the process. So that's why we are here. Now, solar really should not be complicated. Although, right now, for many people, it is a very complicated subject. And I am no different than you. When my husband and I first started considering solar, we did a lot of research, we studied, but that didn't change the fact that when we sat at the table to talk with people about solar, we were a little bit more savvy maybe than most, but we didn't know everything. And then the person who sits at your table to talk to you about solar and hopefully help you make the decision to go solar, you really want it to be someone that you can trust, someone who is interested in creating a relationship with you so that 5 years down the road, if you have a problem, you can still pick up the phone and call me because I will be here and I'm here for you. That's my promise. My promise is that I'm going to be available. And it doesn't matter if it's today or tomorrow or 5 years from now. And I can say that with an honest heart because I love I mean, I literally love solar energy. It's one of those things where people are looking for things to do. They're looking for their careers. They may want to change careers or, the buzzwords, find your passion and that kind of thing. And you do 101 different things like me. I've done 101 different things and some have been good, some have been learning experiences, but solar found me. So when that thing that you love finds you, oh baby, it's on. And I mean literally, I can't even express it enough how I love it. But the way that I came to solar is my husband and I were ready to make a purchase. We wanted to go solar. Our average our average electricity bill was $328. Now, that doesn't mean that we paid $328 every month. What that means is that you took 12 months of usage history and payment history. So you would add up 12 months of payments. How much did I pay for electricity over a 12-month period? Okay. And then you divide that total by 12 and you come up with an average. And our average was $328. So the goal for us was to hopefully have a system customized for our home that would produce the same amount of energy that we were using at that point, 100%, and have a payment, because we had to finance the system. And so the key was that if we could finance the system and stay within that $300 mark, then we would be good because we would not be paying any more for the solar energy system than we were paying for electricity. So I want to make sure that I get back to how I got into solar though. So that's what was going on. We had a sales rep sit at the table and we finally got to the point where it made sense. Keep in mind, solar has to make sense for you. It has to be right for you because every home is not eligible for solar. And you want to make sure that the person who is selling you solar, who's sitting across the table from you, is going to be truthful with you about your existing needs and whether or not solar will fulfill those needs for you. Now, the solar panels, the solar system, all of that was good. The sales rep that sat across from me told us about a rebate program. And it was a rebate program that was through the major energy provider. I'm not going to call any names tonight, but the major energy provider. And it wasn't a guarantee that we were going to get this rebate. And that was okay. But we were told that 30 to 90 days, we would know if our project had been approved or not. Um, and then the time passed and there was nothing, no information, no nothing. So I finally asked about it. And when I asked about it, that's when things got sticky and tricky. And come to find out, when I did research and digging and really got to the source of the company that was providing the rebate money, I found out that actually, when that salesperson sat at the table with us, the money was already gone. So, even though it wasn't guaranteed, that would have been fine to come back and say, okay, Robin, your project wasn't approved, so you don't get that rebate money. That would have been absolutely fine because we understood that there was no guarantee. And so that that was an ordeal that we really didn't have to go through. But, every now and then, like Ray Charles would say, "You got the right one, baby." I was the right one in that moment because I refused to just let that happen to me. And even right now, it's been 3 years ago, and you all listening to me, you might say, "Well, why are you still talking about that? And are you angry about it?" I'm not angry about it. I'm really happy and grateful for the experience because that's when I understood that homeowners need an advocate. Homeowners need someone who is going to sit with them and answer all of your questions truthfully and take you through this process and make sure that you have permission to operate and you have everything that you need. That's why I am here. So it's still the idea of the experience, it still excites me. It inspires me, and it helps me to know that there's a place for me out here in this industry. Um, I'm an African American woman. I own the business. So I'm sure there are others. I have not met them. I would love to meet them. But in the meantime, it's me and you here to talk about solar. So if you have questions, you can call me at 214-497-7440, and I will answer the phone right now. You will be a live caller. We are live on Facebook and we are live on YouTube every Thursday. Now, what we do at Better Me, Better You Solar Energy is we put you first. We put people first, okay? And we promise to communicate with full transparency. We're not leaving you in the dark. And the biggest thing is, as I mentioned earlier, we promise to stay connected. So if you have an interest in solar energy and you are interested in adding solar to your home, then I'm the person that you want to call and talk to. Um, the problem, the problem is very simple. The problem in 99% of the cases is that the electric bills are just too high. And they're not going to get any lower. They're not going to go down next year. They're going to continue to go up. Texas, in Texas, the electricity business is deregulated. And what that means is there is a lot of competition. There are several companies out here that are energy companies, but they are not producing energy. They are purchasing energy from people like Encore. Encore is a producer of energy. We've got two things going on when we deal with solar and our energy bill, the bill that comes to your home. When we add solar panels to our homes, it is for the purpose of producing energy, producing enough energy to match whatever you were using prior to solar. We have to at least match that. And you want a little bit more. But your bill also has other items on it, like taxes, like base rates, like delivery charges. Like Encore charges a delivery charge to move the energy from one point through the lines, the electrical wire through the lines to get it to you. So, if you are thinking that you can just totally eliminate your electric bill by adding solar panels, well, maybe you can if you understand how to work it out. And what I mean by that is if you are sending back enough electricity to the grid and they're paying you for that, and the money or the credits that you get for the overproduction that you send back to the grid, then maybe you have enough to cover your usage as well as the other items on your bill. However, if you are not producing enough energy, then you probably will still get a bill, but it will be minimal. And minimal could mean $50, it could mean $20. It just depends on what electricity company that you are with and what type of solar energy buyback program that they have. And this is what I want to help you understand. I want to help you understand that if you are paying 10 cent per kilowatt, okay, and your electricity company is buying back your energy at 10 cent, that's a dollar for dollar. You're paying the same price that they're buying it back at. That's a dollar for dollar. So usually in a case like that, you may well be covered so far as your usage is concerned. How much energy did you pull from the grid? That's the energy that you're paying for, because let's get smart and understand this. During the daytime, when the sun is out, like now, the panels are producing energy. The energy that you are using during the day is the energy that you are producing. During the daytime, you are comparable to any other energy producing entity. You're just like them. But when the sun goes down, whatever your usage needs, your energy usage needs are at night, you become just like every other person who doesn't have solar, because you're pulling that energy from the grid. Whatever you use at night, you're pulling it from the grid. And why is that? Because solar, the sun, that is the renewable portion of what we're talking about. The sun is renewable, considered renewable, is renewable because it rises every day. The sun rises every day, whether you see it or not. It's there. There could be cloud cover. If there's cloud cover, you don't see the sun. If there's cloud cover, then there are no sunbeams hitting your panel, creating a direct current that has to be transferred into AC. And when that happens, then again, just like everyone else, you are pulling your energy from the grid. So I like to help people understand that when you go solar, it is a lifestyle change. And and I mean that sincerely, because I adjust things in my home based on the sun, based on when the sun is out and when it's not. No washing after 6 o'clock, because, and especially if you're washing white clothes, you want hot water. So now you've got the electricity to run your machine, but you've also got to have electricity to heat the water in the water heater. So these are things that we normally don't think about. We just flip switches, turn lights on, leave them on. We do those kinds of things because we've never had to really think about it. As long as the bill is paid, when you flip the switch, if the light comes on, everything is good. Everybody is good. But when you have solar, I want you to become savvy as to how to work it so that it works for you. So in my home, I don't cook late nights. I don't I my air conditioner, now listen at this. I recently had a new unit. I had to have a new unit put in because I have been leaking Freon almost ever since I moved into a brand new home. 2 years after moving into this house, I noticed that my air was not cooling properly. So called somebody out, they put Freon in it, and everything is fine. Then 2 years later, same thing happened. And this has happened probably over the last, I almost want to say 10 years. I had a very slow leak, a very slow leak. And finally, it got to the point this year where there was nothing we could do. It wasn't holding Freon. So I had to replace the entire unit. And I will say that by doing that, now, instead of running my air at 74, 73, 72, because it was really working hard because it was working inefficiently. But now that I have a new unit that is doing what it needs to be doing, I'm running my air at 76, 77, and 78, and it is cold. It is cold. And so now, because I can run my air at a higher temperature, what does that mean for me? That means that I'm using less electricity. So I'm producing lots, but I'm using less during the heat of the day when I really need it. And that's a good thing for me because what it means in the long run is that I am going to be sending a lot more energy back to the grid that will be credited to me and that will cover my usage and all of the other components of that bill, the taxes, the delivery charge, the base charge. And that's a big deal. I've had solar for 3 years, and in 3 years, I have paid only four bills. And basically, that is because I pay attention. I'm very involved in the electricity usage. I am connected to smartmeter.com. Now, you don't have to have solar to be connected to smartmeter.com, but smartmeter.com, you can log in there, create an account. It's connected to the meter that is read, the electric meter that is on your home that gets read every month. That's how they know how much to charge you for the electricity that you're using. So I have an account. I log in to smartmeter.com and I can see the consumption. That's the amount of energy that I'm using. What I'm consuming is broken down in consumption and production. I can see every 15 minutes is updated. So in 15-minute increments, every 15 minutes, I can see what we're doing, what we're using. What time of day do we really start consuming energy? What time of day do we stop consuming and the production is higher than the consumption? And all of this helps to make it all work together synergistically. I had a problem in my home with my refrigerator. One side of the door was not closing properly. So I'm like, okay. If the door's not closing properly, I'm losing energy because, if the door's not closed, the motor is running longer. If the motor is running longer, then, that's just sucking energy. So what did I do? I put a note on the door. If you can't go in it and close it, don't go in it at all. Whatever you want out of there, you've got to make sure that we close these doors. And it's become fun because I am actively involved in my energy usage. So, I have solar panels on my home. I have a neighbor across, diagonally across. She has solar panels on her home. Our panels are very different. The design is very different. I have 54 panels. I'm not sure how many she has, but if I were to go and compare with her, well, how much is your energy bill with solar? And I look at her usage and my usage. You cannot compare the two. You can't compare any two homes that have solar on them because what goes on in that home is very different. The number of people who live in the house, what they do in the home, how often they're cooking, how often they're washing, do they run their air on 69 all day and all night? Some people, their homes run at night the same way they run in the day. You might have 2 adults and 5 children, and you've got 2 or 3 Nintendos and TVs going and lights on and music playing, and you've just got everything jumping. At night, you need to be aware. You are pulling energy from the grid. And if you are pulling more energy from the grid than you are sending back in production or overproduction, then your bill may be higher than 50 or $20 because you're not producing enough energy to cover your usage. And that's what this is all about. How can I sustain my usage and make solar make sense so that, I can make that decision to get it? Um, you also want to consider now, a lot of people will say that getting solar is too expensive. I agree. It is very expensive. It's not a cheap ticket at all. But, if you consider that whatever you're paying today, $100, and 12 months, $1,200. If you finance it for 20 years, that's going to be whatever that is, 40 something thousand dollars. That's basically what the base price of your system is going to be, about $40,000. And then, the finance charges will be added into that. And so maybe you might come out at 45 or 55. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing right here, but that's a big ticket. And because it is such a big ticket, you want to make sure that you are respectful of what you have invested in. So you may think that is a high ticket. I agree that it is a high ticket, but if you took advantage of purchasing a solar design today for your home, and maybe today you're paying 10 cent per kilowatt, um, and next year you may be paying 12 or 15 cent per kilowatt. So if you don't do it today and you wait and do it next year or 2 years down the road, well, energy prices will have gone up by then. And because they will have gone up, then your system is going to cost more. So, it's just a matter of understanding how to make the right move. It's like playing chess. You got to know the right moves to make. So let's get back to what we were talking about earlier, that $900 electric bill. So when I hear a number like that, my question was, well, what do you do in the home? Well, they have a pool. A lot of times, people, when you have pulls, that motor is running consistently, and that uses a lot of energy. So that is partially the reason that you would have such a high bill. But another thing is, how old are your windows? Are you losing energy through drafts? Has your house settled to a point where your doors are not even and there are cracks, in your doors? So you can be losing energy in a lot of different ways that would cause a bill to be 300, 400, 600, $900. So there's a lot of things to consider. Sometimes when I speak with my clients and my friends who are considering solar, but maybe they think, oh, this is not something I can afford right now. It's not something that I even want to do. I don't even want to wrap my mind around spending $50,000 to reduce my electricity bill. I just don't want to do it. Well, if you're not ready to do it, no problem. Let's look at what we can do. And what we can do is perhaps invest in new windows. Okay, let's seal this house the best we can. Maybe we can invest in new windows. Maybe we can do weather stripping for the doors. Maybe we can blow new insulation in the attic, or maybe we can do that radium, barium, or the insulation blanket. We can do things that will make your home more energy efficient. And that's all we're talking about. How can we make your home energy efficient? So, um, and sometimes I have clients, that's what they want to do. And that works enough. You would be surprised at what new windows would do for you and what weather stripping would do for your home and what blowing new insulation in the attic. So, also, when we talk about blowing insulation in the attic, in some cities, most cities have a city code standard for what your insulation is to be. A lot of times we have no idea if we are out of code, with reference to the insulation in the attic. Now, how would you know that? Well, if you were to have a new roof installed, and you're working with a professional roofer who looks to help you make sure that your home is as energy efficient as possible, then they understand codes. They have an opportunity to look at your policies and they can see what's required as it relates to insulation in your attic. And then at the time that you're replacing that roof, they can also ask for a supplement to replace that insulation. So there are so many things that we just don't know about. So the whole idea is, I understand that you don't know what you don't know, and that's fine because you have me. I'm here to help you understand all of the nuances. I tell people all the time, solar really should not be complicated. Going solar, making the choice to go solar really should not be complicated. But there are lots of moving parts. And you've got to understand how those parts are moving and how to, engage them properly so that everything works for you. That's what we said. When you switch to solar, it will work if you work it. And that's my job, is to help you understand how to work it. So now let's talk about, you say, okay, Robin, come see me. We're going to talk about it. And we do. And you decide that, yes, I want solar added to my home. Okay. We've taken you through all the processes. We've gotten you qualified. And to qualify, really, you just need a 650 credit score. In the solar industry, there's not a whole lot of hoops that you have to jump through in order to be approved. Even though, you know, the questions that you answer are fewer than in some applications, but I do put forth an effort to ask detailed questions so that we stay on the same page. Okay. The application may have only maybe 2 or 3 or 4 specific questions. Everything else may just be kind of vague because you only need a 650 credit. Most of the time, when you're being financed for solar, this is something that you are paying for anyway. You pay that electricity bill every month because you need lights. You need it, so you are paying for it. When that bill comes in at $400 or $500 or $600, even if you have to pay in installments, you make that payment. So now we're adding a solar to your home. We're financing it, and your finance payment is $300. Okay, so you are swapping your regular electricity bill for the payment on your solar panels. Hopefully, our goal is that you won't have to pay anything else, that your system will be designed in such a way that it will offset your usage, your electricity usage enough to have more than enough. Now you have overproduced, and that overproduction is enough to pay for your usage and your the other aspects of the bill. So you're going to get a bill, but it's going to read $0. And that's what we want. If we work it out properly, that's the way it should be. So when you think about going solar and you go, wow, I just don't want that kind of a bill, but you're paying that bill anyway. It's not really a new bill. If we do it right, if we work it right, it's a bill swap. In my case, as I mentioned earlier, my average bill, my average electricity bill was $328. Okay, I have my system on my home. I am offset 104%, which means that my system produces a little more than we use on a regular basis. Now, I pay my finance company because the panels were financed. So that bill is $392. Yep, it's a little bit more than what my average bill was, but for me, it's okay. It's a bill swap, and I'm okay with being 40 or $50 over because I have enough production that I get credit for that covers everything. So I don't have to come out of my pocket for anything else except during those times in the winter months. Usually the winter months are usually, if you're going to get a bill, that would be the time, because if there is no sun, then your panels are not producing. So in the winter months, when it is excessively cold, you have more than usual cloudy days. Maybe you have ice and snow like we had this past February. It set on my panels for a week. So, really, for the month of February, I had little to no production. That is one of the 4 bills that I paid. And because the cold was so severe, and severe because ice and snow stayed on my panels for at least a week. My bill for that month was $292. And I had no choice but to pay it. So that particular month, yes, I paid a $292 electric bill and I paid my solar panel bill. But that's not normal for me. That's not normal. So if your panels are not producing, then you can't expect that you wouldn't have a bill. So we're learning how to relate to solar and understand how it works, understand what it is designed to do and not do. It's like any new bug, any new fad, anything that's new. In the beginning, they just talk to you about, okay, go solar, you don't have to pay an electric bill, and blah, 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 blah. But you would do yourself a disservice if you did not study or find someone who's going to tell you the real truth. Because listen, a lot of people get stuck because you have the people that knock on your door. And please, I thought about this last week. I talked about door knockers, but I don't mean any harm towards anybody who knocks on doors. I don't knock doors as a solar sales person because I don't want anybody knocking on my door. So if I don't want them knocking on my door, why would I go knock on your door? And in today's climate, we have to be really careful as we are approaching doors and knocking and wanting to sell things. And you, as the homeowner, should be careful as well about opening your door and making sure that that person has credentials and they are who they say they are. So I don't knock doors, but I don't knock anybody who does. So, I just lost my train of thought when I went into that, but it's okay. Um, but you have to really just understand how it works. Um, Maybe somebody has a question. Now, listen, here's another thing that I want you to understand. If you're thinking about going solar and you're trying to figure out how it works right now, as long as you have a 650 credit score, it's not going to cost you any money out of your pocket to go solar. Okay. And when you go solar, the goal is that we have discussed enough to know whether or not it's going to reduce well, we know that it will reduce your electric bill. We can't guarantee that it's going to eliminate it. But if we are conscious and smart enough as we are designing your system, we will offset it a little more than 100% so that you would have enough extra production to cover, everything to eliminate it. And right now, I know you all have heard about the government with this 30% federal tax credit. All right, it's true. It is available. However, you have to uh how do you say? That 30% tax credit is there as a credit, and the credit will cover your liability at the end of the year or when it's time to do your taxes. If you owe taxes, then we can use that credit. You can use that credit to pay the taxes that you owe. And I'm going to tell you, you all know in all kinds of situations, when people are sitting at the table with you and they start talking about all of these things that you get, rebates and tax credits, and it sounds really good and you kind of get excited. You may not say a whole lot, but it is interesting and somewhat exciting to think that you bought a system for $50,000 or $60,000, and 30% of that might be $7,000 or $12,000. Most people think that they are going to get that money back in their hands, and it's not necessarily true. Sometimes you will get money back in your hands if you are a W 2 worker and you work normally like you do every day and every year, and taxes come out of your wages. And then when you get to the point of it's time to pay taxes, have you paid in enough? And do you have enough deductions to create a situation where you don't have to pay the taxes because you've paid in enough? But if you haven't paid in enough and you have a liability, meaning you owe taxes, and now you have this 30% tax credit available to use. Okay, you can use the tax credit to pay your taxes. And if you have paid in taxes, the money that they take out of your check, it's possible that you could get that money back in your hands. But the whole idea of the tax credit is that you would get that money and pay down on your system. You don't have to, but a lot of times the contracts are set up in that way. And if you do, excuse me here, if you do pay down your tax credit, then you're good. But just understand that a tax credit is just what it says. It is a credit that you can use to pay a debt. And the debt is the liability, the taxes that you owe at the end of the year. So it should balance out, but it doesn't work quite the way that most people are led to believe that it works. Okay? So, no out of pocket cost. As long as you have a 650 credit score, there is the 30% tax credit for those people that it will work for. And if you work with me, um, and you refer with me, then there's a $1,000 referral fee. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get $1,000 when you buy your system, but if you are happy with me and you're happy with the work that we've done together, you're happy with everything that I've shared, and now we've got you installed. You have permission to operate, and you're up and running, and your bills are starting to come in at zero, and you're just, head over heels in love with solar like I am. So then you would tell your friends and your family, and then they would call me as a referral. You refer them to me. And when that happens, and when they are fully installed, then I will circle back and give you $1,000 um referral fee. And, if you're someone who knows a lot of people, you can really pay your system off or pay it down like that. And some people do. But it's just up to you, whatever you think and whatever works for you. Again, we're talking about switching to solar energy and the fact that solar will work if you know how to work it. And that's what I'm here for, is to teach you how to work it. Um, some of the questions that I get once you have your solar system installed on your home, it is attached to your home. It's attached to your roof. It is now a part of your dwelling. And you have an obligation to contact your insurance company, because now um, these panels have to be a part of your dwelling insurance. Because if something happens, let's just say a storm comes through, tornado, we don't get hurricanes around here, but we do get high winds and strong rains sometime. If your system is damaged in that way, then you would report it to your insurance company and it would become a claim. Um, that they would be responsible for paying, just like if you need a new roof, just like if you had water damage in your house, just like if there's a fire and you have to totally move out of your home. That's what homeowners insurance covers. Now that you have solar panels attached to your home, that is a part of your dwelling and they have to be covered, and it is your responsibility to make sure that they are covered, because believe me, you don't want to be in a situation where you have panels and you have not added them. Sometimes I have seen people who get solar and they may go several months before they actually, report it to their insurance company, and they're taking a chance. It's just like anything else, driving without insurance, not wearing your seatbelt. You never know when life is going to happen. So let's just do it right from the beginning. Here's another situation. Okay, I've got solar on my home. I love it. I haven't paid a bill in 4 years, and it's just worked out wonderfully for me. But I don't want to live in this house anymore. I am ready to move. I'm gonna move. Okay, now understand this: adding solar to your home does not increase your property taxes. It does not increase your property taxes, but it will add value to your home. So if you are actually owning the system, you're not leasing it, you're not doing a power purchase agreement, you are buying them outright, just like you're buying your home. Okay. So at the time you're preparing your home for sale, an appraiser will come out like he normally does or she normally does, whether you have panels or not. But because you do have panels, that appraiser is going to consider that as a part of the value. Okay. It could be as much as 4%, 2% increase, 4%. I'm not sure about that, but they really do add value to your home. Now, you've got the appraisal, the value is added. Now you've got people looking at your home, but they don't know anything about solar. They don't know if they should buy a home that has solar panels on it or not. How does this affect the sale of your home versus the house next door that is the same exact floor plan, but it doesn't have solar panels? Okay. Some people will bypass yours and go to the next one, but consider this: I encourage all of my clients to, once you go solar, keep up with your paperwork. That's the first thing. Keep up with your paperwork. Okay. For many reasons. Sometimes you might be in a situation where it is a lease and you want to transfer it to the new owner. You got to have your paperwork to understand that, or at least to be able to call the finance company, because you don't talk to them every day and every month. And maybe you haven't talked to them since you had solar installed. So, how are you going to find their number? Keep up with your paperwork. That's first and foremost. The second thing I encourage people to do, once we flip that switch and you are now a solar producing entity, when you start getting your bills every month, keep up with them. Keep them all together. So now, when the buyers are coming through my house and the house next door, The same exact floor plan, everything is exactly the same. The only difference is I have solar on my home. I can show them my bills, my electricity bills. I can show them that for the last 3 years or 4 years, my bills have been zero because of my solar system. And that's real important. So now what that means is that whoever buys your home, they're basically coming into a home and they're not going to have an electric bill. They're not going to be paying on the system because the cost of the system is rolled in. It's either rolled in with the purchase price or you have paid that system off. Mhm. So they're coming into a really, really sweet spot. Okay. And I can show them my bills as proof. Just the fact that I have not, had to pay an electric bill for 3 or 4 years, that's value. So they can see that real value. So don't be afraid of going solar because you're maybe not going to be in the house for the next, maybe you're going to be moving in the next 6 7 years, so you don't want to go solar now. Don't be afraid. It will still be worth it, and you can still recoup that investment. So once they see the value, once they see that you've paid no bills, the house next door, everything is exactly the same, except if they buy my house, they're not going to have an electric bill, basically. They're not going to have a solar payment. They're not going to be paying a finance company because that's going to be paid off in the deal. So, whose house do you think they're going to buy? Well, I think mine. I think they're going to buy my house. All righty. Let's see. What else? You all need to know that I am right here in the DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Lancaster, Duncanville, Dallas area. I will drive anywhere in Texas almost because people need solar everywhere. I can sell, throughout the state. Um, right now, the installer that I work with is basically in Texas. Louisiana, I think, is going to be opening up soon, but I'll go wherever there are people who want to understand how solar works. Is it right for me? Now, every home is not a good candidate for solar. You have to have a roof that is in good condition to support the weight of the solar panel systems because they're installed on rails. Rails are nailed down and then the panels are clipped in. Every home is not a good candidate because if your home is covered by trees, that's a lot of shade. A lot of shade means you're not going to get sun. If you can't get sun, then solar is not right for you. If you live in a house that is designed in such a way where it's got lots of pitches and angles on that roof, may not be a good candidate for solar. If you need a roof, I do roofing as well as solar, but if you need a roof at the time that we're putting solar on, we can roll that into one deal. We can add your roof now and make that cost a part of the total cost. So you don't have to worry about that. A lot of times people will have roofs that have 30-year warranties. And let's say you have a roof that has a 30-year warranty and you're in year number 18 or year number 20 on that roof, then it's reasonable that we do a new roof for you because you only have 10 more years of life. And you don't want a situation where you have to start detaching your solar panels to do add a new roof and then reattach. And we don't know how many times that could happen. That depends on Mother Nature. But if the life of that roof is already at a point where it's almost to expire, maybe we need to talk about adding a new roof at the same time that we add solar. And keep in mind, it's all your decision. I am simply here to educate you enough so that when you decide to make the switch to solar, you can do it knowing that you have full understanding of how it works. And that, I mean, that is really my heart's desire, is to be someone who can help you fill in the gaps. If you're watching live on Facebook or live on YouTube, then if you have questions, a lot of times I get questions after the show, and I will bring those answers back the following week. You can send me a message either way. You can also listen on Spotify and iHeartRadio. Um, and pretty soon, you know, I'm working my way into becoming a local celebrity. So y'all need to understand that I am the solar queen on my way to you. Again, I am Robin Fafmy. I am Better Me, Better You, Solar Energy, Consulting, and Sales. And please understand that I am not going to leave you. One of my biggest pet peeves is people who leave you hanging. I won't do that. I will be with you from beginning to end. You need to just make sure you are clear with that. And it would just be my pleasure to talk with you. You can call me at 214-497-7440. And if you want to check out my website, go to bettermebetteryou.com. When you do Better Me, Better You, it's better me hyphen betteryou.com. And you can see a little bit more of what we actually do. And I know you already have an idea of what panels on a home look like. I'm going to say this, and I think we're getting close to wrap up time. Solar is going to be just like debit cards was years back. Nobody wanted to give up their cash. Everybody was like, oh, no, not me. And today, everybody has a debit card. Cell phones, they were too expensive for the regular person to have. And now our babies have cell phones. And don't you remember when computers first came on the scene? They were in the schools program, No Child Left Behind. Every home, it was mandated from the government that every home would have a computer. And now we have 4 and 5 computers in one home. So don't you think for a minute that this renewable energy, this clean energy situation is not going to do the same thing? We're right now on the cutting edge, and solar is definitely coming to a home near you. So call me, Robin Fafmy, 214-497-7440. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Bye.